President Joe Biden and his Republican rival, Donald Trump, will meet for a debate on Thursday that offers an unparalleled opportunity for both candidates to try to reshape the political narrative. The Democrat incumbent, Biden, gets the chance to reassure voters that he is capable of guiding the U.S. through a range of challenges. Meanwhile, Trump could use the moment to try to move past his felony conviction in New York and convince an audience of tens of millions he is suited to return to the Oval Office. Biden and Trump enter the night facing fierce headwinds, including a public worry of the tumult of partisan politics. Trump has promised sweeping plans to make the U.S. government if he returns to the White House, and Biden argues his opponents would pose a threat to the nation's democracy. And to unpack this, I am joined by Kunle Falowo, a global affairs analyst. Good evening, glad to have you join me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this debate, is one for the history books. It is the first time a sitting president will debate a former one. And also the candidates are two of the oldest people to run for president. And one of them is now a convicted felon. What are your expectations for tonight?
Yes, so definitely this is very different in the lives of the political history of United States. Mr. Biden Mr. Trump President Trump is 78. Current President Joe Biden is 81. They have just 3 years apart, and they're among the oldest presidents. And it's interesting to see that they're also vying for another coveted seat to go back to becoming the next president of the United States for the next 4 years. So by and large, it's interesting times, and there are so many topics that's it's going to be catching the eye of a lot of people today.
Now, the debate for tonight, the format rather, for tonight's debate will be different from what we have seen or known. There will be no audience, and their mics will be turned off when they speak. So it will be muted when either of them, is speaking. How do you perceive this?
This is a very interesting one. Like I said before, we're going to, for the first time, it's very advantageous because we're not going to be seeing a lot of interruptions from either or participants. And also we're going to be seeing that both individuals are able to articulate their points and recommendations, and they're able to speak to the hearts of the individual voters and tell them what they intend to do when they get the position or when they get voted for. So it's very pivotal. Aside from that, this is just the first one. We're having another one in September, but both candidates are doing the extraordinary, which is wanting to have an independent, a public and a private television company run this kind of event, which is, like you rightly mentioned, it's not going to have any audience, and it's just open for a national dialogue and to win the hearts of voters.
There are lots of expectations for this presidency race. How important is tonight's debate?
Oh, it's very crucial, especially in the wake of all the recent convictions on both sides. Convictions, like you said before, former President Trump had just been convicted of 34 felony charges in New York. He has another one coming in July. And also, quite interestingly, Mr. Biden's son, Hunter Biden, also was just convicted of felony gun charges, and he has another tax evasion charges that he has to face in September. So Mr. Biden has also already informed Americans that he will not be pardoning his son. If he was convicted, he will have to do his time. So it's quite interesting to see how this dynamic is going to play out. The voters are going to how they're going to approach and appeal to them. It's very crucial. And like I said before, there's a lot of topics that needs to be talked about.
Now there are concerns, as to how steady and also cognitive President Joe Biden will be during this debate. What's your impression of this?
Well, for the cognitive test, we have to also understand that Mr. Trump was among folks that was, clamoring for Mr. Joe Biden to have a cognitive test. However, he claimed that he had a cognitive test, and in a televised conversation, he erroneously mistook the doctor that had conducted the cognitive test for him. He mistook his name for somebody else. So what are we talking about? So, back and forth has been going, and we've seen a lot of missteps, some missteps that have been televised from, when we saw Mr. Joe Biden had some missteps on national TV, and that's a source of concern. And, and again, you have to realize that these people are older gentlemen. Trump is 78. Biden is 81. If he gets reelected for the second time, he will be 86. He will be the oldest president ever in the history of the United States. So while it's going to be interesting, and we are expecting Mr. Biden to come out and articulate his issues, because he's been really going back to research and do his back work, and he's going to come out and talk to a lot of people.
Now, looking at the other candidates, there are concerns as to how disciplined Donald Trump will be. Looking at his antecedents, what are your concerns about this? Which is why, of course, their mics will be muted when either of them is speaking.
Well, and just part of decorum, and we know how Mr. Trump is. He is a trained showman. He knows what to do. As a matter of fact, he had attested to the fact that he might intentionally lose this presidential debate. He has said that in a recent interview that he might just go ahead and lose it, and that will just tell you that he kind of want to water down the outcome of the debate. But however, people want to see what is going to happen. What do they have? Especially hot topics right now about international politics, diplomacy. The country is polarized, it's divided. A lot of people are supporting for and against Ukraine and Israel. The war going on, it's very bipartisan. Again, abortion, it's already a national issue, immigration and things like that. These are interesting topics that Americans generally are interested in seeing what policies each candidate will push forward.
Now, let me ask you, who do you see the people supporting and why?
Well, like I said, the country is really polarized, and it's very hard to identify or just select who is going to who the general populace is going to pitch for. But I would say that according to statistics and recent research, it's only about 5% of the entire electorate and voters would be swayed or change or have an inclination to change their voting pattern as a result of a debate or a presidential debate, meaning to say that sometimes it works, but most importantly, this is an avenue for each electorate to listen to what the preferred candidate has to say about, or what their stand is about national politics. So this is a way of conveying their messages directly to their electorate.
Well, thank you so much for bringing context to this. Kunle Falowo, Global Affairs Analyst, thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.